Hello, guys. Welcome to yet another episode of the ASP.NET jQuery dataTable series on how to create a crude project. I will encourage you that if you haven't watched my first, second, and third video, you should go and start watching before you watch this fourth video in order to not get confused. And again, if you've not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Hit the notification button and then share. Okay, so quick recap. Last week we learned or we were able to create a project where we could view our data inside my Microsoft SQL database on our web page, as you can see here. So basically we performed the read model of crude. Today I will be combining how to create a stored procedure in Microsoft SQL Server, and then how to use that stored procedure inside ASP.NET MVC. So the first stored procedure we created in our second video was the get stored procedure. So basically we wrote a stored procedure to get all our data from the DB into our web application. This is our database, and this is the get SP that we wrote called get employees, and then we called the SP here inside our home controller, and then we displayed it through jQuery dataTable onto our web page here. Again, I will encourage you, if you've not watched all my previous videos, please go back and watch for better understanding. And this was the results of our read operation. Today we will be moving on to the create part of the crude operation. So we will first start by creating the stored procedure, and then we will name it add employee. EBO, which is short for database object. And say create a procedure and employee. Okay. Then we will create some variables to hold the objects in our table. So let's quickly go back to the employee table design. So here we have full name. So this is full name. Then the envarchar attach its the next one is phone number. We use the @ keyword to show that it's variable. So I'll be doing so for all of them. If you miss anything, please pause, go back and then watch, and just to make sure what you are doing is the same as mine. Also envarchar 50. Email address. Also envarchar 50. Then here we will write our database query. Insert into employee. Then the full name, phone number, nationality, just like how we write normal SQL queries, email address. Then we close our parentheses. And then we insert into the DBD's values, and the values are going to be the variables we created at the top. Then you see at full name, at phone number, at nationality, at email address, so basically this is our SP. You see that create procedure, add employee. Add employee is the name of our SP, and then we declared these variables: full name, phone number, nationality, email address. I used the same names as the DB objects in order not to confuse anyone. And then I said, and then inside the begin function, I said insert into the table employee, the full name, phone number, nationality, email address, of, and then insert these values into this table. So whatever we push from the application side, the DB will catch it through these variables here, and then it will be inserted into the DB table here. Now let's run and see. Hooray! So our add SP has been created. Let's refresh and see. Good. So add employee has now been created. Let's then switch to our to our application, and then create the HTML form for the add function. Okay, so I have already created a template of sorts already, so I will just switch and then copy and paste and make some modifications. So add, okay, this is the add model. It's for different applications, so I'll just paste it here and then make some few modifications. Okay, add model. This is the ID. We say add. We'll change this to add employee. This is not department. We say add employee. Okay. And then this is full name. Then we'll change this to tst underscore add underscore full name. And then we'll change this to, let me quick pick, change this to phone number. So change this from description to phone number. txt underscore add underscore phone number. Again, I would encourage you to pause or go back if you've missed anything in order to get a better understanding. Okay. Instead of going back and forth, I will just open the employee model. Use the objects here, nationality. Txt and nationality. Changing all the variables. Text. Then the last one is email address. So I'll have to create another input here, call it email address. I will also plead with you to subscribe to the channel if you have not, and if you enjoy the video, please leave a comment and share to other friends of yours who would be interested in my tutorial. Okay, so now basically what I've done is create a model, Bootstrap model for the ad. So anytime I click this, the model should pop up instead of the let. Okay, so yeah, that's basically it. BTN and say employee for better understanding. Okay, and then from here inside the Bootstrap, inside the dataTable, we would also change some few things inside the ad. We will take this off. And put some authentication stuff there, basic stuff. So we say document dot get element by ID. Then we will use the IDs that we created, txt and underscore full name. Scroll here, txt add full name, paste it here. Save that value. I will explain what this is. The value equals empty. Save. So what this code is saying is that if the txt add full name input is empty, meaning if I have not typed anything inside that input, there should be that input should be highlighted. So basically to tell the user, hey, you missed this input, it needs to be filled or satisfied, basically. So we'll do same for all the rest. So let me just copy this, paste 3 times. Give it a little spacing for clarity. Come down here and just copy and paste the IDs. This phone number. This is for nationality. This is for email address. So then we will show the model itself. The ID of the model is add employee. Let me see, show. Let's try and run this and see if our code is working. Great. So we have our code working now. It's full name, phone number, nationality, email address. Let's try and see if we click on add, it will, the focus code that we wrote will show, will work. Okay, it's not working. Let's go back and see why. Okay, let's write this code that says focus on so basically what I've written here means is that when I open the unemployee model, it should focus on the first input, which is the full name. Before that, let us do a little bit of styling here. Let's change this to, let's change it from an add-on to a label. Take these ones out. Doesn't really mean anything. Let's change the add-ons to labels. Take these ones out. again, if you missed anything, please pause, take your time, and then follow what I'm doing at your own pace. Cool. So now, still doesn't really look good. So I'll go back and make some changes. See. Good. So this is basically how I want it to look like. Go back and then change it from form control. Reload the page. Nice. Looks better now. Okay. This is not an HTML CSS tutorial, by the way, so we won't get deep into that. Okay, so now let's perform the OnClick function. Again, I have already created a template, so I would copy that and paste it, and then you make the necessary changes to fit what we are doing. If you need to take a break, please feel free and do that. So we'll change this to add employee. The ID of the add button is btn add, so we'll copy that, and then we'll change this to that. And then this is some validation code I wrote to make sure that users input in the right values or the characters or the right number of characters based on my expectations. So I would quickly take you through that also before we move to the AJAX part. So just like we did for the create dataTable here, the button at the top for the inputs to be focused if it is empty. This is our second validation. So basically it's saying that if the input is empty, then show this message that code. So here we say full name is required. Full name is required. And then we will focus where the error is. But then at the moment I have not created this modal add message. So let's use an alert instead. let me just quickly do that. Okay, it's already here. And employee message. So let's copy that and change these to hours. Okay. So basically what it does is display errors or success messages. But then for the purpose of this tutorial, it basically displays validation errors or prompts. So the first one says that if full name text box is empty, display this message, full name is required. And then the next one is phone number. Phone number. Saying that var. Just some basic stuff. It's empty. Then also phone number is required. Nationality. What's next? So, nationality. Email address. So we are still on the validation stuff. Okay, let's try and test our validation and see if it works. Okay, let's see. Let me show an palette just to make sure our function is working. Reload. Okay, function is working. Cool. change this to medium. Good. So now you can see that full name is required, and it has highlighted the text box that we need to provide information for. So let's say if I type in John and then I hit add again, you don't say phone number is required, and it moves to the phone number inbox. I type in the phone number, and then move to the nationality. I say Ghanaian, and then the next one also shows. Great. So this works perfectly now. The next thing is to create the AJAX, which we already have the template. So we change the URL to home, which is where we will be placing our stored procedure function, which will post our add info. Then this will be add employee. Of course, will be the data type will be JSON, and this will, the data that will be passing will be the full name, which is the variables that we created here. Passing the full name. So full name here. Phone number. Nationality. And email address. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. And then we will replace these IDs with the correct ones. Good. So these are the data that we will be passing to the SP function that we will be creating inside our controller. It will take the first name, the phone number, nationality, and then email address. So this is basically it for the front end or the view part of the MVC. We will move to the controller part, where we will see how the add a controller will be created. I've already shown you how to create the get controller. So this is the this will be the add controller. Again, I've already created a template for it, so I'll just be copying and pasting from one of my projects. So I'll pick this one here, go into my home controller, and then paste it here. And then we will name it, and then we will give it the exact name we use here in our URL. So basically what this URL is saying is that get inside the home controller and then access this add employee function which we are creating here. So inside our parameters will be the full name, which is a string. Yeah, full name. They are all strings. Well, to save time, let me just copy and paste. But again, I would encourage you to take your time and then follow all these steps that have gone through. If you want to get a better understanding of what your project to work. Okay. So yeah, so these are the parameters that we will be passing to our variables inside our third procedure here: full name, phone number, nationality, email address. Yeah, sorry. Full name, phone number, nationality, email address. Cool. And then the name of our stored procedure is add employee. Yeah. So we'll change this to add employee dbu.add employee. The number of parameters are 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0, 1. Place them inside an array. 2, and then 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. Good. Take this out. Then it's session ID. Then call full name. Call full name. Phone number. Nationality, and then email address. Great. We save this. Let's place our debugger here, just in case. So let's run our application. So the debugger. Okay, so it's up. Let's try to add, say, John. Let's say the nationality Ghanaian, email address info dot DevApps consult.com. Now let's add, okay, straight to our debugger. Let's see here. The full name is there, John Osei. Phone number 024100, which is not real, please. Nationality, yes, Ghanaian is there. Email address is here. Okay, let's move down. Okay, so our add is a success. Let's continue and see. This is the record that we just added. John will say, this is the phone number, this is the Ghanaian, this is the great. So this is how you create an ad. So if you want to add a record into your Microsoft SQL Server, now let's see if that record also appears here. So select top 1000, and there it is, the third record. John will say, this is the record we just added. So in our previous video, we learned how to get the record from the DB, and in our current video, we've learned how to add a record into our DB. Now, let me quickly go over what we did today. The first thing we did was create our add stored procedure. This is it. So created a procedure called add employee, which is the name of the stored procedure we created, and then we created these variables called full name, phone number, nationality, email address. I will always advise you to make sure that the variables you create here is the same as the DB objects that you have here, in order for you to not get confused or create any confusion for yourself. Make sure they are the same. And then inside the beginning, we write our SQL query, the usual SQL query. Say, insert into employee, full name, phone number, nationality, email address, and then we use the values that we got from the user inputs, which is full name, phone number, nationality, email address. We use these values to insert into the DB. So this is basically the stored procedure, and then on the front end parts, inside the add button, we created some basic validations to focus the inputs when they are missed or when the user enters nothing for them. So this is the basic one, using their IDs. But before then, we created the add model. So this is it. This is the name of the model. We say add employee, and then this is the title of the model. The first input was the full name, and this is the ID which we used in our add operation. So this is the add full name, add phone number, add nationality, add email address, and then this is the span that outputs any validation error or prompt. And then this is the ID for the add button, btn add employee. Now we use that add button, btn add employee, to create an OnClick function here, where again we created some basic validations that won't allow the user to skip any of the inputs, especially when they are all important and there is some sort of expectations from the user to input in something. And then we move to the AJAX call. Type is posts, URL, the home controller, which is this one. Say enter into the home controller and access this function. So when you enter into this home controller, this is the add employee function. And then you see that pass these data into the function. So basically whatever we input inside the model, pass these here. And then if message.if response.message, this is the message object. So it says if response.message is equal to success, show success model, which I don't have yet, and it says that location.reload, which means that the page should refresh and then update the get list, basically. And so inside the home controller, the home controller, we created an add function, and inside then gave the function some parameters, which is full name, phone number, nationality, email address. Again, you would realize that my naming is the same throughout for all of them, from the model to the DB objects and then to the controller variables. So this is done to avoid any sort of confusion, basically. And then we say use this SP to input these variables. So guys, this concludes my tutorial for how to add some records or items into your DB using MySQL stored procedure, and then displaying it or viewing it with jQuery dataTable. Mind you, this is the free version of jQuery dataTable. So, and we are using ASP.NET MVC as our framework for this tutorial. Again, if this is your first time here, please go back and watch from the first video. It is a playlist, so watch from the first video to get a better understanding of what we are doing. It's a basic crude project using jQuery dataTable and ASP.NET MVC with Microsoft SQL Server and stored procedures. So go back, watch, get a better understanding. If it's too fast, pause and then follow at your own pace. If you have any concerns, please leave them in the comment section. If you have if you liked my video or if it was helpful to you, please like and share, and also subscribe if you haven't. Thank you. The next video we'll be looking at how to edit and then delete a record, and that will end this tutorial series. Then we will move on to the paid version of jQuery dataTable and how easy it is compared to the free version. Thank you and have a good day.